All right, man. Peace. You know, it's funny. I've always stated that Skip Bayless does a very good job of reading the psyche of the so-called black male. He knows that the majority of so-called black males in America, they just want a hug from the white man. They just want to feel relevant. And he's done a good job, or he does a good job of emitting that energy of sympathy for the so-called black plight. But every once in a while, his real feelings about so-called black people come out. He doesn't hold blacks in high esteem, despite how he acts. And he's going to show you this in this segment. He and Shannon Sharp are going to have a conversation about LeBron James' comments about Tom Brady. And LeBron James is going to he's going to lay out his reasoning as to why Tom Brady is not the all-time greatest athlete. And you're going to see that the parameters you're going to see that the parameters that LeBron lists are purely based on the logistical aspect of what occurs on the field. But pay very close attention to how Skip Bayless totally changes the argument.
To another Super Bowl, it would be his 8th, leading some to call him the greatest athlete of all time. However, LeBron James does not agree. Uninterrupted released this video of LeBron and his friends discussing Brady's legacy in a New Orleans barbershop. Let's take a listen.
My only argument with a football player being the greatest athlete of all time,
53 members of the team,
is that, no, not even that, Jesse, is that.
And where the hell Jesse Williams came from? You know, I'm probably going to do a video on Jesse Williams soon too, because, you know, Jesse Williams, he's an example of the normal disingenuous pro-black female simp. He was trying to pimp the low self-esteem of the black woman when he went on BET and he had that long soliloquy about how black women, you know, we got to do better by them. And, you know, he brings out his earthy black wife, yada, yada, yada. And then come to find out he's divorcing the broad. It's like, what happened? I thought that was your goddess, your princess, your queen, right? I thought she created the earth, the heavens, and the universe. So now the man comes out divorcing the woman. So I'm going to cover that soon. We're going to get back to that because I remember how disgusted I was by his BET speech. But let's get back to LeBron.
They only got to play one side of the floor, man.
That's a good point. That's a legitimate
Yes, Brady is unbelievable. Brady is the greatest quarterback I ever seen.
That's a great point.
But he affects the game one way. And that's by throwing the ball out, and it's great.
You're right.
And it's
He
great.
doesn't affect the game one
Brady
way,
can
Brian.
play 22 years.
Ronnie, doesn't affect the game one way.
He can play 22 years, but he don't have to worry about certain things
it
like
is
as a
you don't
basketball
have to play
player.
defense or play the other side.
Brian, he doesn't affect the game one way.
This as a basketball player and the pounding that you take and running both sides. Okay, now I gotta do offense. Oh, I gotta get back on defense. Oh, I gotta get back on offense. Oh, I gotta get back on defense. As physical as football is, and I know it's to the body, I know it's crazy to the body, but for a quarterback, Belichick has done a great job of implementing those 5 guys in front to protect that asset. Every Sunday.
Right. That's the best.
So Belichick, that's not Brady. Belichick's not recruiting or looking, scouting those linemen, bringing in, you know, all those guys. For us, every single night, like you have to you got to know both sides. I'm not saying he's not great. He's the greatest football player of all time.
60.
Now let the record show. LeBron stated that he does not think that Tom Brady's the greatest athlete ever. He lists his reasoning behind it. He kept it purely logistical. He kept it purely according to how the game is played. He stated explicitly that it's because Tom Brady only plays on one side of the ball. Football actually has 3 sides of the ball: offense, defense, and special teams. So he kept it purely logistical. Shannon Sharp is going to make the very, very strange error of interpreting LeBron's statements as Tom Brady not being the greatest athlete in the literal sense because Tom Brady does not run fast or jump high. And LeBron said nothing about that. And Skip Bayless is going to take it even farther. But let's see what happens here.
Shannon, is LeBron right?
Why you smiling? Because LeBron has said everything I've always said, Skip. You'd have thought me and LeBron was on the phone talking about this long beforehand.
Were you?
No. Maybe.
Hey.
I don't know. I forget. Skip, I've said this all along, Skip. It's hard for me to, first of all, Tom Brady's not even the greatest athlete to ever play football. Let me ask you this, Skip. Is he a better athlete than Deion Sanders? Is he a better athlete than Bo Jackson? No.
Tell me when you're finished.
No, I will. And this...
That was such a silly digression by Shannon. When you have greatest athlete lists, you're obviously talking about who's the most accomplished athlete in each sport. You're not talking about who's the greatest Olympic athlete, like who can jump the highest and run the farthest and all that other stuff.
And this is no disrespect, but I'm trying to, and I keep going back because I had DVR in the Super Bowls, and I kept rewinding it because I wanted to see Tom Brady sack Matt Ryan and cause that fumble, and so I rewinded like 17 times, and I was
I'll bet you did.
It was still Dante Hightower, and I agree. In order for and for basketball players, because they affect the game both offensively and defensively, not only can LeBron score 30, but he can also steal the ball. He can block the shot. Remember that chase down block, the greatest block in the history of NBA. That chase down block. He can also deal.
Wait, the one where JR undercut Iguodala?
Who blocked the shot?
Well,
okay,
he mopped up. That's what he did. So,
when you're comparing athletes, basketball players, football players, baseball players, tennis or golf, if I'm gonna give it to a guy that's in a team sport or a female that's in a team sport, you have to be able to do other things other than throw the football or hand the football off. You must impact the defense. You need to intercept the ball because in '96, if you remember when Michael missed those 5 games, Deion caught 37 passes. He played offense and defense. He also was a dynamic punt and kick returner. Bo Jackson went to the All-Star game in baseball. He went to the Pro Bowl in football in the same season. Skip, you saw him run up the wall in the All-Star game and catch that ball.
Now, when Shannon said that when Michael missed those 5 games, Deion caught 37 passes, he's supposed to say Michael Irvin. All right? Sometimes Shannon goes, he gets a little too caught up in what he's saying and he forgets to be explicit. When you say Michael, everybody thinks Michael Jordan. You got to say Michael Irvin.
You saw
I was there.
So we're not, those two guys, we're not questioning the athleticism of those guys, Skip. But Tom Brady is a great quarterback, and you can make the case that he's the greatest football player. But as far as athletes, when you branch out, when you talk about golf, or you talk about the Olympics, and Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps, or you talk about boxing and Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, or you talk about basketball, no, Skip, he's not. Tom Brady's not even the greatest athlete on his own team. He's not the greatest athlete to play in the NFL, and that's no disrespect to what he's been able to accomplish. But when you talk about athleticism, it's not even close, Skip.
That's it? You're finished?
Yeah, I'm going to repeat what you say. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So here's the flashpoint of this debate, is the word athlete.
No, that's not the flashpoint of the debate. The flashpoint of the debate is LeBron listing and giving his parameters as to why Tom Brady is not the greatest athlete. He said it's because he doesn't play defense. He doesn't totally control the flow and the outcome of the game. That's what he stated.
Is it possible that you can be a great athlete without being as athletic as other athletes? Is it possible?
Anything's possible.
Yeah, okay. So what I saw here was, if I can be completely real with this, because I love the barbershop here.
Yeah, be completely real. Now, notice, prior to his statements, he's saying that he's going to be completely real. In other words, oftentimes when he speaks about so-called black men, he's not being completely real.
Yeah, I do.
They give you real talking there.
It's really real. But I couldn't see the whole room, but it looked like mostly black guys are sitting around talking about greatest athlete ever.
Yes.
Now, he just made it a racial issue, right? He said it's all black guys talking about the greatest athlete ever.
Yes.
And they cannot wrap their mind around the concept that Tom Brady, who ran the ugliest looking 40-yard dash in the history of the combine, who did that awful looking, ugly looking dance wherever he was in Brazil or wherever it was, that guy's athletic. He's the greatest athlete ever.
In other words, so-called black men cannot comprehend how a Caucasian man is dominating his sport. That's Skip Bayless's take or his stance on why that group of men, who all happen to be black, did not say that Tom Brady is the greatest athlete ever. If you notice, none of them even mentioned race, and it seemed like some of them probably said that Tom Brady might be the greatest athlete ever, because when LeBron started talking, it looked like he had swayed them off of an opinion that many of them had.
Well, we have to move past that word athlete, because he is what he is. He's a football player, right? He is a football player. So, to LeBron's credit, he jumped right in and said, "Oh, he's the greatest quarterback ever." There's no debate about that.
And then he did say football player at the end. He said he's the greatest football player.
He said football player, but it requires some athleticism, if not a whole lot of athleticism, to play the hardest position to play in all of sports, which is quarterback. I would submit to you and to LeBron that Brady's job, playing quarterback, as a one-way job, one side of the ball job, is far harder to do than LeBron's two-way job of playing offense and defense during an NBA game. Up and back.
Well, how would you know if you've done neither? If you're LeBron James or a Magic Johnson or a Michael Jordan, not only do you have to know all of your sets, you have to know the defenses of the other team, as well as the offense of the other team and all of your defensive sets.
Did LeBron utter some bad words there? They were bleeped out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, he'll curse from time to time.
Oh, he's the best role model.
But Skip, you're in the barber shop.
Yeah, because he's saying, bleep, I got to do this, and bleep, I got to run back there, and bleep, I got to run back there, and
Skip,
bleep, I got to run back there.
You want real talk in the barber shop?
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I'm good with that. But my point.
I'm amazed that Shannon didn't jump on Skip when he tried to make it a racial thing, because Shannon is supposed to be Mr. Pro-Blackity Black.
Point to you is that the underrated, underestimated athleticism of the quarterback position is footwork, tap dancing in the pocket to avoid what's coming at you from all sides like that. Boom. You have to process what 11 people are doing on the other side of the ball. 4, 5, or 6 of them are trying to get you, and I mean get you. They're trying to hurt you, and you've got maybe 5 receivers out in the pattern, maybe 5.
Most that's the most you can have out, because you got 5 linemen quarterback.
Right. So you have up to 5 people running different directions against however many are trying to pass cover and how many are rushing.
Right.
And it is happening like gangbusters before your eyes. So you have to process all that while tap dancing, and it's subtle, but it's footwork in the pocket, and then deliver an on-target, catchable pass, which nobody has ever done better than this guy consistently, routinely, and it's really hard to do because very few can do it consistently at the highest level that this guy has.
Can I ask you a question?
What does any of that have to do with what LeBron stated? None of that has anything to do with what LeBron said. All LeBron said is that the man is not the greatest athlete ever because he does not play all sides of the ball or all aspects. What he does not encompass all aspects of his chosen sport. That's all he said. So he's not responsible for everything. And for the most part, anytime that you have an all-time greatest athlete list, it's normally going to be topped by either a boxer or a basketball player. That's normal. Most all-time great athlete lists are topped by either Michael Jordan or Muhammad Ali.
So when he goes to the bench, what impact is he affecting the game?
Yeah, but he can actually play defense by keeping his defense off the field the way Dak kept the Dallas defense off the field.
No, don't bring Dak into the discussion. So when what?
Ron's the biggest Cowboy fan in the world. I gotta bring him up. He would be upset with me if I didn't bring up Dak Prescott.
So in the last 23 minutes of the ball game, when the Atlanta Falcons did not score a single point, how much of that was Tom Brady? When the Atlanta Falcons did not score a single point, how much of that was Tom Brady?
I'd say about 80%.
Oh, so that was him getting those 3 and outs.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he just changed the whole momentum of the game. And trust me, all those Falcons, all those first-timers are looking across the field saying, it's 12. We can't deal with number 12. He's on fire.
But you haven't answered the question. The last
He has
23
psychological impact on the
No.
Falcons' offense.
So,
He had psychological impact on the play calls because they tried to just keep doing what they had done because they knew if they don't throw it here, if they just run the ball, it's starting to slip away, and you better dance with who brung you. You better, if you are a record-setting offense, you better keep flinging it because Brady is going to fling you down if you don't.
see, Skip, when it comes to the greatest athlete, like I said, if I'm going to go to a team sport, I'm going to go to a guy that plays both sides of the ball. That's why I would never say it would be next to impossible for me to give the MVP to a pitcher.
Now, there are a lot of people who think that the Atlanta Falcons were complicit in a rigging of the Super Bowl. That would not surprise me at all, right? All I look for when I note things like rigging are reasonability, right? When I see a coach who's up by 28 points and now he wants to keep throwing the ball to give the opponent a chance to continue their comeback, because when you throw the ball, you're going to actually stop the clock. Incomplete passes are going to stop the clock. Passing the ball is going to give you an added opportunity for turnovers. It's highly probable, or possible, I should say, that game was rigged. You'd have to look at Kyle Shanahan as whatever his affiliations might be as being complicit in some form of rigging. Who knows?
Because he only pitches once every 5 days, and if he's in the American League, he doesn't bat. So I'm gonna give it more. I'm more apt to lean.
Allegedly.
To lean towards a Mike Trout or a Miggy Cabrera, a guy that plays offense and defense. Not only does he hit the ball out of the park, drive runs in, he could also field the play. He can rob you. Mike Trout can throw you out at second base or at home plate. Mm-hmm. So I'm more apt to, in a team sport, I'm gonna give it to a guy I'm gonna lean more towards. And Skip, football is how my bread was buttered. We spend more time talking about that sport than any other sport on this show. And I'm in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I'm not going to sneeze at anything what Tom Brady's done or anybody's done.
That was his way of saying, Skip, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That was his respectful way of saying that. He said, look, football is where my bread is buttered, and I'm in the Hall of Fame. I know what I'm talking about. You don't.
But Tom Brady is not the greatest athlete. It's not even close.
Okay, so if we have a discussion of who's the greatest quarterback athlete, then I'd go Michael Vick,
Cam,
I'd go Randall
Cunningham. Right.
I would have to throw Steve Young, who's
yes.
not a black guy.
Yes.
I'd have to throw
You see, Skip is still playing the racial angle. I want to see if Shannon's going to pick up on that at all. But Shannon is, in regards to this show, he seems to know his place. But I just wanted to include this interaction, this conversation, because Skip Bayless is, how he says, in your heart of hearts, his heart of hearts is speaking in this interaction, in this conversation right here. Because and even Shannon's going to hell off, because the conversation is really not about who's the most athletic person to ever participate in sports. The conversation is about who's the most successful participant in sports in history. And that's why LeBron James omitted Tom Brady in the first place, because he said he doesn't play defense. When you have those type of conversations in regards to who's the greatest, you have to take people out due to, things of that nature. That's how that's how certain people are going to get omitted from the conversation.
throwing in there because of those four we just mentioned.
Right.
There's only one Super Bowl ring, and it belongs to Steve Young,
Right.
right? So, but I give you that. I get that. But do I want Michael Vick playing in my Super Bowl?
No,
Or Tom
no.
Brady? I want Tom Brady.
No, but we're saying the greatest athlete, Skip, and that's what we're saying. Not athletic, the greatest athlete. An athlete should be able to impact, especially if we're talking about team sport. Now, you want to talk track and field? Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt has yet to cross the finish line in front of him at the World Championship or the Olympics.
Okay, I
He
got
got disqualified. Okay, Michael Phelps. He's swimming 100. He's swimming 200. Whatever. Different strokes. Okay, I get all that, Skip. But Tom Brady hands the ball off. He throws the pass. He's not intercepting. He's not stopping the run. He's not knocking down passes, Skip. I can't give him that.
Okay. I thought the most insightful point of all was made late in the conversation. I'm not sure we got to it in the clip that we showed, by one Maverick Carter, the CEO of LeBron Inc., who was sort of leading the discussion from one of the chairs.
Yes.
and he made the point that Tom Brady has won the last 2 Super Bowls. I'll just sum it up with a bunch of little white guys as his receivers. Well, you got to give him some credit for that, right?
But see, Skip, we look at that. We look at those little white guys, but we're judging them against Julio Jones and AJ Green. But for what Tom Brady needs, they're perfect for that.
Exactly, because they want Tom Brady to throw quick, short passes. That was LeBron's point. Right? They don't want guys to really stretch the field like that unless it's on play action, maybe about twice a game, because they don't want Tom taking those shots. So they want those little white guys who they say are going to work harder to learn the playbook than a lot of the so-called black receivers will. I think that's what's implied in regards to why they like those little white receivers. Because when they've tried to bring in guys in the past like a Chad Johnson, Chad has shown that he wasn't really interested in learning the playbook. So they seem to prefer those type of receivers because I think that they believe that those receivers will work harder at learning the intricacies of the playbook, and they're not going to be worried about their stats and catching the long ball. They don't want Tom throwing a lot of deep passes anyway.
Because those guys are going to want the ball. Because see, those guys don't have egos.
Exactly, that's what I just said.
Look at when they were drafted. One was a free agent, one was a college quarterback. And so Coach Belichick gets them. He's like, they're just happy to be there. You get a Julio, you get an Antonio Brown, a guy that's used to catching 80, 100 balls, 15, 1,600 yards. They can't go there.
So you're saying Brandon Cooks will be a problem this year?
If he had a problem with Drew Brees throwing the ball, Skip, you never know. It varies from week to week. We know on most weeks, 12 out of the 16 weeks, Antonio Brown's going to lead that Pittsburgh Steelers in receiving. Julio's going to lead his team in receiving. AJ Green. You go to New England, it might be Grunt one week, it might be Amendola, it might be Hogan, and that's what got Blunt up out of there. You like, one week he get 100 yards, and next week he get 25, and he talking about, I need to get paid. Coach Belichick said, you can get paid, it just won't be from us.
Well, LeBron.
I see that, this conversation is coming to an end. I see that Shannon didn't touch on the racial aspect that Skip kept trying to go into.
Well, LeBron is still working on his 4th ring. Brady just got his the other day, and it has 283 diamonds in it. He got it at Robert Kraft's home in a private ceremony.
Because of 28.
A private blood drinking ceremony, allegedly.
28-3, which was the deficit they faced.
And they had greatest comeback. They had inscribed inside greatest comeback. They should have had greatest choke job.
Oh,
that's what they should have put in the ring.
I like it. Coming up.
Right, but once again, and I've stated this before on numerous videos in regards to these two and their relationship dynamic, Shannon knows his place. All right, and Shannon is smart enough to know that Skip was wrong about trying to include the racial dynamic. But that was Skip's heart of hearts talking right there. Skip doesn't like when you attack his boo Tom Brady. So the first thing that came to his mind is that a bunch of niggers don't like Tom, and I'm going to stick up for Tom. But anyway, peace.